So today our senior pastors are finishing up ministry in Cambodia, and so until they get back, you're stuck with me today, so we're going to have some fun. We're going to hang out together. Some of you are so excited about that. Some of you are terrified. You have no idea what's about to happen, but it's going to be great. So I get to bring to you part 4 of our series, At the Movies. Now, this series is probably my favorite. I love it. We do it every year. It's a lot of fun. That's probably one of the reasons why we do it, right? Because it's just fun. Why wouldn't we want to have fun at church, right? Amen. Right. But there's a bigger reason that we do it, and that's because Jesus, when he had to teach a deep spiritual truth or get people to understand something complex, he would help them understand it by telling them a story, right? A story that they could relate to, that they could understand. And so we'd call those parables, and the New Testament is just filled with these stories that Jesus would tell. Now, the format in 2018 has changed. The parables today are on the big screen. They're movies, right? But the principle has stayed the same, even though the format has changed. And so I believe that hidden within some of these great movies, some of these great stories, are still some great spiritual truths. And so we're going to be unpacking one of those truths today with the help of Jumanji. Now, I have one very simple goal for today. Today, I want to make your life better. Okay? Nobody got excited about that. I guess your life is perfect and you don't even need me, in which case I hope you enjoy the clips. But I hope to make your life better today. And I'm going to use, there you go, and I'm going to use Jumanji to kind of guide us through that. Now, unlike the movie, I hate to break it to you, there's no body swap that's going to happen, okay? So if you're hoping to be able to leave here looking like The Rock, unless you came in looking that way, you ain't leaving looking that way, okay? Because while I'm going to make your life better today, you're still going to leave you. I just believe that you will be you, but better. Okay, and that's my goal today. In fact, that's the goal of my life, to help people understand that you, but better, is simply you with purpose. That when you live life on purpose, it's a better you. Right? If we can get to this place where we stop living life as a reaction to the things that happen around us and start living life on purpose, man, amazing things will happen. And so that's kind of my goal for you today. Now, why does this matter? Why am I so passionate about this idea of getting you to live your life on purpose? Well, it's a really simple truth, and that is you only get one shot at this. Let's take a look. All right, so I sometimes wish that life was a little bit more like a video game, right? Like you could get multiple lives, right? If you knew you were about to do something risky, you could just quick save, and if it didn't go well, you could reload, right? Like how awesome would that be, seriously? But sadly, that's not how the real world works, right? In fact, this may come as a shock to you, but you only get one life, okay? And so the thing about this one life that you've been given is that because it's rare, it's special. Because it's the only one, that you're the only you in existence that will ever exist, you have value. Your life has value. You may not think that your life is anything special. You may not think that it's anything to look at, that your life isn't beautiful, that it isn't special. But it's valuable, it's precious, simply because it's the only one. That's why I borrowed this vase. This may look like just an ordinary vase, but I tell you, this is the most expensive object lesson I have ever used in my life. In fact, the paperwork I had to fill out just to get it here today was ridiculous. And we couldn't have the haze and all kinds of rules. I had to touch it with gloves. It was just crazy. Because I'm borrowing this from a friend of mine who tells me that if this vase were to sell at auction today, it would sell for no less than $100,000. Some of you are like, I could use a new car, right? But you look at it and it doesn't look special, but it has value because of its story. See, this is an Andrei Rene Razumov vase. In fact, this is the only one left. That's why it's valuable. It's not because it's pretty. It's not because it's made with diamonds. It's just an ordinary vase. Does what any other vase does, just holds stuff. But it's the only one left. He only made a handful of them, and when Germany invaded France, everything was destroyed except for this one. This is the only one left. And so it has value simply because it's the only one. And so I had to take special precautions with it. I had to be careful with it because of how valuable it is. And your life is the exact same. It is valuable simply because it's the only one, right? You don't get a do-over. You don't get a redo. And so the question then becomes is, since you only have one life, what are you going to do with it? My challenge for you today is don't waste it. Let's take a look at this clip. I think that slap is my favorite scene in the movie. That was just epic. But here's the thing. Your life has value because it's one of a kind. Don't waste it. In fact, my favorite scripture kind of reminds me of this moment. It's Ephesians 5:15 and 16. It says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity." And here's what's so amazing about that statement is that your life is an opportunity. That every day that you wake up, it's an opportunity. And you have to decide what you're going to do with it. Are you going to waste that opportunity? Are you going to waste that day? Are you going to waste that life? Or are you going to do something with it? You've got two choices. You can be smart or you can be stupid. Right? That's what the Bible says. You can be wise or you can be unwise. But the choice really is yours. An unknown author said 3 things you cannot recover in life: the word after it's said, the moment after it's missed, and the time after it's gone. This life that you have is precious. Don't waste it. In fact, here's my big idea for today. If you only walk out of here remembering one thing, let it be this: that a life lived without purpose is a life that's been wasted. A life lived without purpose is a life that's been wasted. Don't waste your life. Live it on purpose. Don't waste this incredible gift that God has for you. Okay? So for the rest of this message, I want to kind of help unpack for you what your purpose is and how that works. But the thing that we have to understand is that your purpose doesn't come to you like somebody flipping on a light switch, like just ta-da. In fact, what happens is that it is revealed to you piece by piece, and you discover it over time, kind of actually like a video game. Let's take a look. So your purpose is going to be revealed to you like a video game, one level at a time. I didn't wake up at 18 going, you know what, I'm going to become the associate pastor of campus development at CLC. But I did wake up at 18 saying, God, here's my life. Whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. Wherever you tell me to go, I'm going to go. And from that moment until this, over the last 16 years, I've experienced a lot of different levels, right? Some of those have been awesome. Some of them have been awful, right? Like the kind of thing you don't want to wish on your worst enemy. Some of the levels I've faced actually have been a ton of fun, and I would love to do them again. But every level I've experienced, including the level I'm on right now, has revealed to me or prepared me for my God-given purpose, one level at a time. And He's doing the exact same thing in your life right now. And some of you came in here unhappy with your life. But can I help you refocus that? You're not unhappy with your life. You're just not happy with the level you're on. Okay? And so the easy solution is beat the level. Right? Because here's the reality of any game. You can't get to the next level until you beat the one you're on. Okay? So beat the level you're on so you can get to the thing that you really want to be on, right? If you've ever been stuck spiritually or emotionally or relationally or financially, that's just a level that you're on. And you need to beat the level. You can't ignore it. It's not just going to go away. Some of you have been stuck on a level for a decade. You could have been on that level for a day. But it was your choices and your decisions that have gotten you stuck, repeating that level over and over and over and over again. And the key to being able to beat the level you're on, it's really simple. It's just 2 things: faithfulness and obedience. If you'll be faithful to what God has told you to do and you'll be obedient to the next thing He tells you to do, you'll beat the level. In fact, it's a guarantee. The only way you won't beat the level is if you quit, is if you stop playing the game. But if you will be faithful and obedient, if you won't give up, then you'll beat this level. You'll get to the next one. Now, I want to help you beat your levels, but I don't have time to sit down with every single person here to talk about what level you're on. And the reality is that all of us face different levels, okay? Because your level and my level are different because your purpose and my purpose are different. Which means the levels you face are going to be different than the levels I face. But here's what I'm going to help you with today. we all have to go through the same tutorial. Okay? The tutorial is the thing you do at the beginning of the game to get you prepared for everything that's going to come. And every single person in this room, we all have to go through the same tutorial. It's 3 levels that we all have to beat. And unless you beat these 3 levels, you're never going to be able to face what life has for you. So let's take a look at this clip and see what level 1 is. All right, so anybody want to guess what the first level is? You guys are smart, man. You guys are with it today. Yeah, level 1 is simply find the missing piece. Now, spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen the movie yet. Real life and the movie are the same in this case because the missing piece is not a thing, it's a person. Okay? I said this a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to repeat it for you today. You cannot fully understand the why of your life without a relationship with the who of your life. That without a relationship with the God who formed you in your mother's womb, there is no way you're going to really understand the why of your existence. You have to find the missing piece. That's why it's level 1. Because if you can't get through this, there's no hope for the rest of it. Right? You're going to struggle in everything that comes your way until you can find this missing piece. But there's an awesome promise that the Word of God gives us regarding this idea. Proverbs 8:17 says, I love all who love me, and those who search will surely find me. That's a promise that if you go looking for the missing piece, you're going to find it. Without a doubt. No exceptions. The rule is, if you look for the missing piece, you will find it. And that's level 1. And it prepares you for level 2. Let's take a look. All right. This is a really hard message to preach. So level 2, you've got to develop your strengths and identify your weaknesses. Because every single person in this room has strengths. But what are yours? Right? Like, what are your actual strengths? Not the stuff that you wish you were good at. Right? Like the guys that show up to American Idol auditions thinking that they can sing. Like, how did they ever... No, we're not going to go there. But what are your real, actual, God-given strengths? Because every single one of us have some. It's found in 1 Corinthians 12. It says, each person is given something to do that shows who God is. Everyone gets in on it. Hey, everybody here, you're part of that everyone. Everyone gets in on it. Everyone benefits. All kinds of things are handed out by the Spirit and to all kinds of people. The variety is wonderful. Wise counsel, clear understanding, simple trust, healing the sick, miraculous acts, proclamation, distinguishing between spirits, tongues, interpretation of tongues. All these gifts have a common origin, but are handed out one by the one Spirit of God. And then focus on this last sentence. He decides who gets what and when. Now, I know that you don't like that part, right? Because you want to be the one in control of what your strengths are. Like Kevin Hart's character, you wouldn't have chosen the strengths you got, right? I don't know about you, but if I could choose my own strengths, man, I would sing like Pastor John, right? I would think like Steve Jobs. I'd make money like Jeff Bezos, right? I would have swag like Pastor Chuck. I mean, dude showed up to church with a beanie on and made it look good. Like, I wish. But that's not who God called me to be, right? And God gave me the strengths that I would need to do the things that God called me to do. And He did the same thing in your life. The reason why you don't get to choose your own strengths is because you wouldn't know what to pick anyways. But God in His wisdom gave you the exact thing that you need to be able to do the thing that He called you to do. And so if you don't know what your strength is, find out. Okay, we make it real easy. We have a class called Growth Track. And the second Sunday of every month is step 2 of the Growth Track, where we give you your strength. Like we help you unlock it and identify it. We use this system called SHAPE, where we take your spiritual gift, your heart is what you're passionate about. We take your ability and your personality profile along with your life experiences, and we put all of that together and we help you identify how God has wired you, how He's made you, how He's shaped you. Right? And all you got to do is show up to that class, and we're going to give you all the elements that you need. We're going to walk you through a personality profile. We're going to walk you through a spiritual gifts test, and you're going to leave that room with a greater understanding of the strengths that God has put in your life. So get into Growth Track. right? But it'd be great if all we talked about were strengths, but the reality is we all have weaknesses too, okay? Now, cake may not make you explode, okay? Clearly, Mexican food does something to me, because I didn't look like this before I married a Mexican. But here's the thing. We all have weaknesses as well, and so we need to identify what those are so that we can get around people, and this is the important part, get around people who have different strengths than you do, because their strengths will help you in your weaknesses. And when you work together, man, it's going to strengthen you. It's going to make you a better version of you, okay? We call that process here at CLC finding freedom, and we do that through life groups. And so a few weeks ago, we started a brand new season of life groups. I hope you signed up for one. If you didn't, the best thing you can do right now is just show up on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock to the church, because there's women's groups in here, there's men's groups upstairs, there's youth groups, or youth group over in the youth side, there's kids over here. Like, there's something for everybody in the family, and it's an opportunity for you to start connecting with people so that you can work on those weaknesses that you have, so that we can all be stronger together. In fact, that kind of takes us into level 3. Let's take a look. So level 1, you find your missing piece. Level 2, you discover your strengths and identify your weaknesses. And then in level 3, you get on a team. Okay? Because here's the thing. They said at the beginning of that clip, you might have missed it, but they said, with the invaluable help of your associates, you must use your complementary skills. Okay? The strengths that God's given you, they're intended to be complementary, which means you got to get with other people for your strengths to really do anything. Okay? We're better together. Right? That's what 1 Corinthians 12 talks about. It says, the way God designed our bodies is a model for understanding our lives together as a church. Every part dependent on every other part. The parts we mention and the parts we don't. The parts we see and the parts we don't. If one part hurts, every other part is involved in the hurt and in the healing. If one part flourishes, every other part enters into the exuberance. You are Christ's body. That's who you are. You must never forget this. And only as you accept your part of that body does your part mean anything. Because here's the idea here. Your strengths are useless in isolation. That unless you get on a team, your strengths mean nothing, because the team gives your part meaning, right? I may think that I put together a great sermon today. Nobody here agrees with me, but I may think that it's a great sermon. But here's the reality. If Isaiah doesn't edit the video clips, you're not laughing, right? Because it's not as fun. If Bianca in the back doesn't hit play on the right clip at the right time, then this whole thing becomes just a confusing mess, right? Not only that, but if the worship team was off key, like really bad today, you wouldn't be listening to me talk right now. You'd still be thinking about the train wreck of worship. Right? And before that, if the greeter at the door was rude to you, or the guy in the parking lot didn't help you find a space, you wouldn't even still be sitting here listening to a thing I have to say. We all have a part to play, but it only works when we all play together. Okay? God didn't create you to do it all by yourself. You need the people in this room, and we need you as well. Now, one of my favorite things about being a part of a team is that when I'm not on a team, my vision shortens. Like when I'm not plugged into a group of people, I start just caring about my own problems and my own needs. I just start looking inward at my own life. But when I get on a team, it opens up my focus. It opens up my vision to be able to see the world around me. Let's take a look at this clip. Maybe we all need to lose our phones a little bit, but here's the thing that the team does. The team gives your life focus, right? It's hard to do the thing that God has called you to do when all you're concerned about is your own comfort, your own needs, your own problems. Because here's the thing. The purpose that God has called you to isn't even really about you. It's about Him, and it's about the world around you that so desperately needs Him. And when you get on a team, it's a reminder. It refocuses your attention to see the bigger picture, the picture that God is showing you. And here at CLC, we've got nearly 50 different teams that you can be a part of. That's a lot of teams. The cool thing is that all of them have the same entry point. And you already know what I'm going to say. It's Growth Track. All right? Go to Growth Track. All right? You're going to discover your strengths. You're also going to be able to get plugged into a team where your purpose, your life begins to have greater meaning And it all happens through Growth Track. So I don't know what you're waiting for. It happens at 10 o'clock every Sunday. Get into class in November. All right, we got one last clip for you to take a look at as we close today. So that's it. You only get one life. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to protect it? Are you going to care for it? Are you going to live it on purpose? Or are you going to be careless with it? Are you just going to let life happen to you and around you? It's a choice that we all have to make, a choice of what do we do with this gift that God has given us? What do we do with this life? And you may have come in here thinking, but my life is just, there's no point to it. It's worthless. But just like this vase showed us, your life has value simply because it's the only one. That God created you for a reason, for a purpose. I'm actually terrified of keeping this vase on the stage because if the worship team comes out and knocks it over. So Jen, will you just take that for me? I love that moment because there's the gasp of, he just threw a $100,000 vase across the room. And then there's the laughter that, my pastor is a liar. Right? Now, some of you knew I was lying early on, right? Raise your hand if you knew I was lying about that vase. Okay, bunch of you. And if you tell me that it's because you know I don't have any rich friends, please, that's true. Maybe Chuck almost gave it away the first service when I said Andre Rene Razumov. He just started laughing because this is Andre. If you want to take it, this is the actual Andre Rene Razumov. Yeah, that's Andre the Giant. So if you've been paying attention, anybody want a peanut? Right? So that's the guy. Yeah, that vase was $8.99. $8.99 at Ross down the street. If you want to go pick one up for your house. But here's the thing. You knew, so like maybe an eighth of you knew early on that I was lying. The rest of you, when did you find out I was lying? The moment that vase went flying through the air, because you knew that I would never be so careless with something so valuable. But take a moment and reflect on your own life. Are there places in your life when you've just been as careless as I was with that vase? Are there places in your life where you've just been throwing your life around? And here's the thing. I think, honestly, every single person in this room, myself included, we're all guilty of it in some area. Right? It may be simple things like eating something your doctor said, if you keep eating that, it'll kill you. And you're like, but it tastes good. Right? For some of you, it's driving around without a seatbelt. Riding a motorcycle without a helmet. Right? It's simple things that it's just careless with how you live life. But for a lot of us, it goes deeper than that. To relationships that we've gotten involved in. That we knew going in, this is bad for me. I'm being careless with my life. Maybe it's things that you've done. Places you've been. Relationships. Maybe substances that you've put into your body knowing that it was going to kill you. Yet you chose to do it anyway. The reality is, every one of us, we're guilty at some point of being careless with our lives. But I want you to remember this moment. I want you to remember that vase. Not the lie that I told, but the reality that your life is precious. Your life is valuable because it's the only one you get. You don't get to do it over. No redos. But you have a choice to make of how you're going to live your life. And my challenge for you today is that you would beat the level you're on. Whatever level it is, that you would just hunker down and say, you know what? I'm tired of going through the motions with this. I'm tired of repeating this level day after day. I'm going to beat this thing so that I can see what God has for me next. Now, for some of you, that it may be a level that we didn't even talk about. You're past the tutorial. You already handled all that stuff. And now maybe the level you're on is an obedience level. Right, where God's been telling you to do something and you've been afraid to do it. Beat the level. Maybe he's been telling you to go on a missions trip. And he's been telling you year after year. Every time we talk about the international dinner, you're like, I should go on a trip. That's not just you. That's God telling you should go. And every year when you don't go, you're just going to have to repeat that level again. But maybe this year can be different. Maybe today after service you can go buy a ticket for the international dinner and show up. You 10% off whatever trip you go on just for being there. Like, that's kind of cool. That's a pretty good savings for the 2019 trip you want to take. Maybe the level that you're stuck on is a relationship level. Maybe there's a relationship that you've broken that you need to mend, that you need to apologize for something. Maybe the level that you're on is a financial one. You need to start budgeting and getting your finances right. Maybe the level that you've been stuck on has been an addiction level. There's something that you've just become addicted to, and it's time for you to beat that thing. Whatever it is, I want to challenge you. I'm going to pray for you in a moment that you would have the strength and the courage and the wisdom to beat that level. Remember, it's simple. It's just faithfulness and obedience. Be faithful to what God's called you to. Be obedient to what he's telling you to do next. And then there's people in this room that you are in the tutorial still. And we can solve that one real quick. Okay? If you're stuck on level 3, you're not part of a team. Get into growth track. Find a team where you belong. Maybe you're stuck somewhere in level 2 between identifying and really discovering your strengths and identifying those weaknesses. Man, get on a life group where those weaknesses can start to be strengthened. Get into growth track where you can discover what your strengths are. And then my favorite group in the room, it's those of you that are at level 1. You need to find the missing piece. Because that one we can solve before 11:15 today. You'll be able to solve that one. You'll be able to walk out of this room on level 2. Even if you came here today on level 1. Because here's the incredible thing about God. We already told you this, that if you look for him, you'll find him. It's his promise to you. And we need him because what Scripture tells us is that when God made you, he made you to have a relationship with him. But then sin, these things in our life that we know are wrong, that we do that are against his will, they separated us from God. And so we couldn't have that relationship anymore. That's what created the missing piece of your life. You were designed to be fulfilled with God, but you were separated from him because of sin. So God, in his infinite love and mercy and grace for you, you know what he did? He sent his son, Jesus Christ, to this earth to live this perfect, spotless, blameless life just so that he could die for you. And when they hung him on a cross, with his arms outstretched, he became the bridge. He stood in the gap for you so that you would have a way to reconnect with that missing piece, that you would have a way to reconnect with God who created you. And Scripture says that if you will just confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, then you will be saved. That's the only entry point to salvation. That's how you fill that missing piece in your life.